I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself this question. Am I living the life I was truly born to live? Too often we find ourselves trapped in routines, living small, settling for what's comfortable, what's easy, what's average. But I'm here to tell you something, and I need you to feel it deep in your bones. Average is a prison. Average is the silent thief that steals your dreams, steals your potential, and whispers lies that you're already enough. When in reality, you were meant for more. You were meant to wake up every day with a fire in your belly, with a drive that won't quit, and with a vision that's too big to ignore. The question is not whether you can be extraordinary. The question is whether you're willing to break the chains of mediocrity, to stand up, to demand more of yourself, and to take relentless action toward the life you've always imagined. Today, I want you to make a choice that separates the average from the unstoppable, the ordinary from the remarkable. Because right now, this moment is where you decide once and for all that you won't stay average. Inside every human being lies a force so powerful, so relentless, that if we ever truly tapped into it, we would astonish ourselves with what we could accomplish. That force is your inner fire, the burning desire, the unshakable drive, the energy that refuses to be silenced by doubt or fear. Most people spend their lives walking through a fog of routine, numbing themselves with distractions and convincing themselves that they are doing enough. But the truth is, very few of us awaken each day feeling alive, feeling the pulse of possibility in our veins, feeling the heat of our own potential pressing us forward. Embracing your inner fire means recognizing that spark within you, that unique combination of talents, experiences, ambitions, and refusing to let it fade into the background. It's about feeling that tingle in your chest when you think about the life you could live and the difference you could make, and then deciding to act on it, not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. This inner fire is not something you turn on by wishing or hoping. It is awakened through awareness, through acknowledgement that you are capable of more than you've allowed yourself to believe. It grows stronger when you challenge yourself, when you step outside the comfort zone that lulls so many into mediocrity. Every time you confront fear, every time you persist when it's easier to quit, you stoke that fire, and it becomes harder to ignore, harder to suppress. The people who achieve extraordinary success are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to let their fire die out. They nurtured it, fed it, and allowed it to guide their decisions, to shape their habits, to fuel their persistence. Embracing your inner fire also requires honesty with yourself about what truly matters, what lights you up, what makes you come alive. Too often, we chase goals that society tells us are valuable, goals that others expect of us, goals that leave our hearts cold while our minds are busy ticking boxes. But when you connect to that internal blaze, you begin to understand that your fire is personal, it is unique, and it demands that you follow a path aligned with your deepest ambitions. It refuses to be tamed by excuses or held hostage by limiting beliefs. It whispers the truth that you were created for more than mere existence, for more than just getting by. Embracing it means listening when it calls you to take action, to push boundaries, to explore opportunities that feel daunting yet exhilarating. It means surrendering the false security of comfort and stepping into the discomfort of growth. It ignites passion where there was apathy, courage where there was hesitation, and vision where there was doubt. Transforming not only how you see the world, but how the world sees you. Complacency is the quiet enemy that creeps into our lives, often without warning, disguising itself as comfort, security, or contentment. It is the invisible hand that nudges us toward settling, toward accepting good enough instead of demanding greatness. Every day we are presented with choices, small ones and large ones, that shape the trajectory of our lives, yet too often we choose the path of least resistance because it feels safe, familiar, or easy. Rejecting complacency is about refusing to be lulled by routine, refusing to allow the passage of time to quietly erode our potential. It's about recognizing that comfort is not always a blessing. Sometimes it is a trap, a cage that holds you back from becoming the person you were destined to be. When we settle, when we convince ourselves that what we have is sufficient, we give up the chance to test the limits of our own capabilities, to discover what we are truly capable of achieving. Mediocrity is not just a lack of results, it is a surrender of the imagination, a quiet resignation to a life that could have been vibrant, impactful, and extraordinary. Rejecting complacency starts with awareness, with honesty. You must look at your life and ask yourself, am I truly challenging myself? Am I pushing past excuses, fears, and comfort zones, or am I hiding behind them? Complacency thrives when we stop questioning, when we stop striving, when we allow habits, routines, and external validation to dictate our efforts instead of our own vision. The people who rise above average are those who treat complacency as the enemy, who feel the discomfort of stagnation and use it as fuel to act, to innovate, and to excel. It is not enough to dream or plan. Rejecting complacency demands action. It means showing up with relentless persistence, learning even when it is difficult, failing and rising stronger each time, refusing to let temporary setbacks become permanent excuses. It also requires courage. The courage to challenge the status quo, to take risks that others shy away from, to move in directions that are uncertain but aligned with your growth. Rejecting complacency is a mindset, a commitment to constant self-evaluation and evolution. It is a refusal to measure success by the standards of others and a determination to push your own boundaries higher than you ever thought possible. It is understanding that the world rewards those who disrupt the ordinary, who refuse to accept the slow fade into mediocrity, and who embrace the discomfort of growth as the only pathway to greatness. Every time you choose to do more than what is required, every time you stretch beyond what feels safe, every time you insist on excellence, even when mediocrity is acceptable, you are rejecting complacency. You are sending a signal to yourself and to the world that you will not be confined by average, that your ambitions, your talents, and your energy demand more than mere survival, and that you are willing to fight, struggle, and push relentlessly to claim a life that reflects your true potential. Visualization is more than just imagination. It is the mental rehearsal of your highest potential, the act of seeing with absolute clarity the life you were meant to live. Most people drift through life reacting to circumstances, responding to what comes at them, never taking the time to consciously paint a picture of the life they truly desire. To visualize your peak is to step into a higher dimension of thinking, where limitations dissolve and possibilities expand. It is about creating a vivid, detailed, emotional image of what success looks like, feels like, and even smells like for you personally, because your peak is unique to your gifts, your dreams, and your purpose. When you visualize, you are training your mind to recognize opportunity, to align your actions with your ambitions, and to build the confidence that comes from seeing your goals not as distant dreams, but as inevitable outcomes. This process is not passive. It is a form of mental conditioning that transforms your mindset, programs your behaviors, and fuels your drive. Every athlete, every innovator, every extraordinary achiever uses visualization as a secret weapon. They see the finish line long before they cross it, feel the exhilaration of victory before it arrives, and allow that mental certainty to guide their efforts. When you visualize your peak, you are also setting a standard for yourself that goes beyond external validation. You no longer measure success by comparisons to others or by temporary markers of comfort. Instead, you measure it by the alignment between your daily actions and the extraordinary life you have imagined. This mental clarity gives you energy, focus, and resilience, because you have already convinced yourself internally that greatness is not only possible, it is inevitable if you commit fully. Visualization ignites a deep emotional response, which is critical because emotion is the engine of action. When you feel the excitement, the pride, and the fulfillment of living at your peak, your subconscious mind begins to strategize, to seek solutions, to eliminate distractions, and to push through obstacles that once felt insurmountable. It is as if your mind, body, and soul are all working in unison toward a future that is no longer abstract, but concrete in your perception. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone, every failure a lesson, and every effort a deliberate contribution to the life you have envisioned. Visualizing your peak also compels you to act boldly, because the image in your mind creates urgency and demand. You cannot remain stagnant or complacent when your inner vision is alive, vibrant, and demanding expression. The act of seeing yourself achieving, thriving, and excelling reshapes your identity, because you begin to think, speak, and act like someone who refuses to settle, someone who rejects mediocrity, and someone who is committed to embodying the full magnitude of their potential. Taking ownership of your destiny is the moment you stop blaming circumstances, people, or the world for where you are in life, and step into the undeniable truth that you are the architect of your own future. Too many people live as if life is happening to them, as if the outcomes they experience are a product of luck or misfortune, but the reality is that every choice, every thought, every action you take either builds your future or allows it to slip further away. To take ownership is to embrace responsibility for the totality of your life. Not selectively, not when it is convenient, but fully, without excuses, without hesitation, without compromise. It is the understanding that your dreams, your achievements, your happiness, and your impact are entirely dependent on your willingness to act decisively and consistently. When you claim this responsibility, you stop waiting for permission, validation, or ideal circumstances to pursue what matters most. You recognize that the power to change your life has always been in your hands. It is simply a matter of deciding to wield it fully. Ownership is not about perfection, it is about commitment. It means understanding that setbacks, failures, and mistakes are not signs of weakness. They are indicators that you are moving, that you are experimenting, that you are daring to grow. Instead of allowing fear or doubt to paralyze you, ownership compels you to confront challenges head on, to learn from every misstep, and to adjust your strategy without surrendering your vision. It is the difference between passively drifting through life and actively sculpting it into the masterpiece it is meant to be. People who take ownership of their destiny refuse to outsource their success or blame others for their stagnation. They understand that while external conditions may influence their path, they do not define it. They choose to rise above circumstances, to leverage adversity as fuel, and to see opportunity where others see obstacles. Ownership also demands clarity of purpose. It requires a deep understanding of what you truly want, why it matters, and what you are willing to sacrifice to achieve it. Without this clarity, action becomes aimless, energy dissipates, and potential remains untapped. But when you couple ownership with purpose, every step you take is deliberate, every decision aligned, and every effort magnified. This mindset transforms your relationship with life itself. You stop being a passive participant and become the driving force, the force that initiates, the force that perseveres, and the force that conquers. It instills resilience. Because you no longer rely on external validation or favorable conditions to keep moving, your motivation comes from within, rooted in the certainty that your destiny is yours to shape, that your legacy is yours to define, and that the power to create, to impact, and to rise above average has always resided in the choices you make each and every day. Momentum is the invisible force that separates those who dream from those who achieve, and action is the fuel that ignites it. Too often people talk about their goals, plan endlessly, or wait for the perfect moment, but the truth is that waiting only delays the inevitable, the potential slipping quietly through your fingers. To ignite momentum through action is to understand that nothing changes until you move, that no breakthrough occurs without the courage to take that first step, and that every small, consistent effort compounds into unstoppable progress. Momentum begins the moment you stop overthinking and start doing. The moment you take responsibility for your results and commit to the process with intensity and focus. It does not demand perfection, it demands movement. Even imperfect action, repeated relentlessly, generates energy, creates clarity, and builds confidence. Action transforms ideas into reality because it is the bridge between vision and accomplishment, between intention and impact. The difference between those who remain average and those who rise to excellence is rarely talent or luck. It is the willingness to act decisively, to persist when obstacles appear, and to keep moving even when the path is uncertain. Momentum feeds on consistency. Every deliberate choice, every disciplined effort, every refusal to quit becomes a building block, and soon the weight of progress generates its own force, carrying you forward faster than you could alone. Action also dispels fear. The longer you wait, the louder doubt becomes, but when you act, you confront uncertainty head-on, proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagine. The process of doing transforms mindset. You gain insights, learn lessons, and discover solutions that cannot be found in thought alone. Action forces engagement with reality, and reality responds to those who are willing to move, adapt, and persist. Igniting momentum requires urgency. Life does not pause, circumstances do not wait, and opportunities fade if you hesitate. When you act with intentionality and energy, you create ripples that accelerate progress, open doors, and attract new possibilities. Momentum is not just physical movement, it is emotional, mental, and strategic movement. Every decision, every effort, every forward step compounds on the last, creating an unstoppable force that propels you toward your goals. It transforms uncertainty into confidence, obstacles into opportunities, and dreams into tangible results. The individuals who achieve greatness understand that the key to sustaining success is maintaining momentum, feeding it with consistent, purposeful action, and refusing to stop until the vision is fully realized. In this way, action becomes more than effort. It becomes a catalyst for transformation. It turns potential into power, ideas into execution, and ambition into measurable outcomes. Every moment you hesitate, momentum wanes, but every moment you act, it grows. And when momentum is alive, when it is fueled by focused, relentless effort, it becomes impossible to ignore, unstoppable in its force, and transformative in its impact.